Hello, everybody, and good evening. Welcome to our most amazing Salaam Radio's show. And of course, I'm hosting it myself as well, Sukhi Wahiwala. This is the Empower Hours show. And if you're tuning in via FM, welcome. And if you're tuning in via any one of the VoIPs or virtual conversations like YouTube Live or Facebook Live, you're welcome as well. If you'd like to get involved at any level and get in touch with ourselves, you know the drill. This is a very, very simple situation. We've got text via WhatsApp on 07745 278 978. And if you're international, because we do get a lot of communication on this particular show being international, please don't forget to put the +44 in front of it. This evening, wow. To be honest with yourself, it's really wonderful to be back here. This is, I think I'm back after about 3 weeks. It's been tremendous. This evening, I just wanted to wish everybody who is listening a very warm welcome and also congratulations on the birthday. It's the birthday of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, which is the founder of the Sikh faith, and I'd like to send a warm congratulations to everybody of all faiths, really, because he was a man of equality. And just going to point out one more thing as well. You know, it's been a really wonderful journey. You know, we're having such great conversations with individuals, connecting, helping. I hope you're enjoying the Empower Hour. And if possible, please do take your time and send us a few texts and communicate and say, yes, Sukhi, it's been good or not so good, and how I can progress and change a few things if it's helpful. This evening, I'm not going to let you down once again with a truly substantially connected, talented individual this evening. We've had his mum on previously, her name being synonymously connected with the design industry, you know, with Khubsurat as a brand, Suren Kohli. This evening, I do apologize, jumping into my time span of coming back from Pakistan recently, actually. This evening we have her son, who is an absolute light within his own reign, in essence. His vision, his structure, his design work has been substantial. We have this evening, I think, a really lovely guest, to say the least. Very talented. His name is Saran Kohli. I'll be introducing him with you very, very shortly. But I'll read something out, just to explain something to yourself. The question is, how does an individual who's a rebel, who actually is a bit of a hustler when it comes to school, and so all the young children listening, you know, getting involved in business, whether it's selling stationery through to many things, and I know that's naughty, and I know you're not allowed to do that in school, but, you know, sometimes people do these things, don't they? How does somebody who comes from a humble background like that spends half his time in this country and half the time in a foreign country, India in specific, to study, but then becomes a world-class, booked, you could say, creative dancer, somebody who's at his expressions, his discussion, his body movements and his waves have delivered great experience and great happiness across the globe. And then to become, to say not the least, a qualified individual from the Royal Fashion School of London, St. Martin's, and to addition become his own brand of Suren Kohli, who's dressed actors from Bollywood. I found out that he even dressed or made a jacket for Shahrukh Khan as well. So this is we really are within the royalty of the next generation. And I'd like to welcome Saran. Welcome.
Hello, hi. So nice to be here. Thank you, Sukhi, for bringing me on board, and a very, very happy Gurpurab to all your listeners. It's a very auspicious day, and I feel very humbled to be on radio. So it's a chance to spread and say something on such a wonderful day. I feel honoured.
Honestly, it truly is. It's a great vibration for us Sikhs and non-Sikhs as well, all around the world. It's just a wonderful opportunity for us to be expressive.
Absolutely.
With the word of the oneness of the world. I just want to touch a few things. So going back to our conversations we were having just a moment ago. Now, a lot of people don't possibly know about your background, and some of the listeners who are here tonight do, but there's just, a lot of followers. We've already noticed a lot of people on Facebook starting to watch and view us live. But just if I can, just give us a little bit of a feedback on the conversation. Now, and I know you're Mani Kohli, may I say, Mani Kohli's son. You're one of two children, aren't you?
Yes.
And I can remember from my interview with Mani as well that both of you were, both yourself and your sister, was older than yourself, are designers as well.
Yes, we're both in the same pot, from the same pot, yeah. Or cut from the same cloth, as I say.
Cloth.
Yeah,
come on,
yeah.
we knew that pun.
I was trying to not to do any cliches, but it's true. We're cut from the same cloth. So yeah,
superbly, and I think very proudly too.
Yeah.
So a question to yourself. I mean, we're going to jump into a little bit about your school days and stuff there, but just a little thought that comes into my mind while I'm sitting here thinking to yourself. I mean, how hard was it to actually what was it like growing up with mum being such a, in essence, hard-working celebrity in this sort of environment with clothing, with draping, some, really from royalty through to Bollywood actors. What was it like? I mean, was it just like, it's another day, don't worry, Shahrukh Khan's come around the house or somebody else will come around? It's no big deal.
No, it was just mum. I saw it just mum. It was normal. I honestly was exposed to a very extremely hardworking, dedicated, a passionate individual. If I was to put mum and then take mum out of the picture, she's someone you would like to do a case study on, because she's overcome much. She has come over so much that it cannot be described in words. I mean, I have told her she needs to write a book. And it's a long time coming, because I think it fits really well with today's atmosphere of we're all seeking so many questions and then the answers and the answers to the questions. I think she fits it right into tell people what she's achieved. But for growing up, I'm very, very fortunate that what she's created and what she's able to share, because it's become a family entity. So I would say is that it's a bit, again, I'm going to throw in a cliche, but she's woven every aspect of what we call as a family, as a fabric. So that's exactly what describes her as a mum. She's woven everything thoughtfully, consciously. She did for us. So yeah. But and on the other hand, I will make everyone jealous. She's the coolest mum ever, because honestly, she's the most chilled person ever. My friends would rather hang out with my mum than me. That's how the relationship.
Maniji, you're listening, and I'm sure I'm looking at the camera right now. You're listening, and I'm very sure you're very, very proud of this comment that he just made.
It's very true. It's extremely, extremely true, because there's no filter with my mum. She's very raw. She's very, very with it. She's very tuned. She's very switched on. She's very aware of what's going on right now. And honestly, she'll make you feel there is no age difference, because she can talk on any level. So it's very interesting. A lot of my friends take advice from her. They were like, I need to... They will skip me and say, look, I can even get relationship advice from your mom. So like, she's very cool. And I think that's what makes her more special, is that being relevant is very not on terms of the social relevance. It's being relevant as a human being and able to talk to 3-4 generation is absolutely admirable. And I think that's what's so special about her.
That's very unique, isn't it? Yeah.
Very unique.
Yeah. So just going back to yourself a second. Firstly, that's a very warm comment that you've been nurtured in such a beautiful way. And that shows with your own interpersonal skills as well, and your awareness of what we classify as behavioral psychology as well.
Yeah.
So what was it like as a child? I mean, what we do is we get nitty and gritty with this particular show. This is the Empower Hour show. The principle of this is to show and explain that actually even people who are super and uber successful like yourself in this current day still have had to overcome adversities in life, and just to prove the fact that it's possible.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not just all success after success. It's actually sometimes you have to ups and downs with dips and ebbs and flows. So as a child, as I'm aware from my pre-discussions with yourself, that obviously you were born here in the UK, but about the age 2, you actually left the UK. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. I moved to Delhi. And
to India in Delhi. Oh, wow.
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
So there was a philosophy behind this, and I'm sure that's not what we're challenging or questioning. How was it to be growing up in India, but also to have a very strong connection with England as well, because you actually used to come back to UK in the holidays and stuff of that sort of. What was this like in your life? How was it like?
It was very cool from some ways or the other. Growing up, so I was brought up with my grandparents. My mom was here. So my mom, I come up from what we call a single parent family.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and dad had separated, and my mom made a promise that my grandparents stepped in and said, "We'll look after the children." My mom said, "I just have one promise. I want to build a house, and my kids should live in our own home." And hence how her business empire started.
I understand,
Is out of her circumstances, and she turned a cactus into a rose. With me, I was very fortunate, and my mom and her siblings are very jealous of me and my sister because they saw a period of our grandparents really bring us up very openly, and not the way they were brought up. They were brought up very disciplined. My grandfather's, God bless his soul. He passed away many years ago, but he was a retired colonel, so he was a very disciplined. But
from the Indian Army.
From the Indian Army, yeah. So, but with me and my sister, it was no rules. It was pure love, pure passion. For him, it was a chance to be a different type of dad that he wasn't with his own children. But and as I say, it's very true. Your grandparents love you very differently.
Yes.
You really do feel the unconditional love with grandparents, is because they're there with you as a 360 experience.
Yes,
If you cry, they will hold you, and if you laugh, they hold you. So they don't judge you as much. They have a very different approach because they don't want to be as hard on you.
I understand
So yeah.
that. So there's a saying in England where basically it's around the globe actually, where we see our grandparents actually are the ones who actually bring up the children.
Yes.
Yeah. And sadly, that seems to be deteriorating in the current climate of current logic of our fabric of society currently right now. But go back to yourself for a second. You were mentioning the fact that there was a difference between how your grandparents, your Nanaji, your grandma Nanaji, actually brought you up as opposed to your parents' siblings, your mum's and her siblings. So there was a rigidity with them, but there was a lovely conversation there. They were much freer with yourself.
Yes.
I think I had a discussion with some elders within the community as well. Am I right in saying that the reason why there's a bit of more freedom with that is because it's kind of like not just about being second time round, is a little bit more about the fact that actually the first time they didn't quite know what they were doing either. So the discipline, the structure, which becomes what we classify as hard love. Not necessarily, it's still not out of pain, it's not out of anger, it's just out of love as well, but it's just trying to do the best for your children. And hence, I understand that's why you're saying your aunties and uncles, etc., had that variable around saying, you guys got the soft side of them, and we've got this chapir, as we call it, like the slap and straighten yourself up type thing. So the question I'm asking is, do you genuinely feel that was probably due to the fact that it was this second time round and they could kind of be a bit more themselves as opposed to having to be the parent?
Yeah, I felt they felt they had the freedom.
Yeah.
They had the freedom
That's
to enjoy to enjoy parenthood very differently, and circumstances were different as well. They were in their retired life, so for them, spending time with a child, they didn't have the pressure. They felt this is a blessing. So growing up with my grandparents was really good. No, it's wrong to say I did get the chapirs from my nanny, especially if I had bad results from school. So I did that. However, my grandfather did, my nanaji didn't.
No,
but my nanny did. I did have bad days with her. But that was that's
it was again tough love.
That's tough love. Tough love. So yes, but they really
would you agree that kind of carved you as being the positive person you are today? Because I don't think that kind of sometimes
depending on the circumstances, I think if I get caught, then of course let me learn my lesson. But yes, it does, because you you shouldn't do it again.
Great. That's
you wouldn't do it second time round. There is no way out.
Message.
Yeah, there's no way out. There's no second chance. You caught. You should know it. You should know what the pain is
and learn.
The thing of doing it again, but you would do it differently, but you won't do the same mistake again. So that's definitely there.
It's a beautiful message.
Absolutely. But also I was instilled with a lot of values, my cultural values, everything, very small nuances, but very sort of cultural behavior was all because of my grandparents. They taught me everything in terms of my culture, religion, everything. I went to a Sikh school, so that was also there. That was there because they wanted to make sure that I grew up knowing Sukhi.
understanding Sikhism.
Understanding Sikhism.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
The foundations of it as much. So I think that was there, and as well as the language as well. Though I spoke more Hindi at home, Punjabi I didn't speak as much. It's because everyone around me didn't speak.
This is a Delhi thing. So we are talking about the capital city of Delhi, and the curriculum is in Hindi as well. Is that right?
Yes. No, curriculum is majority in English, and it was a Hindi medium, so Hindi would be a subject, but spoken otherwise, but everything was majority in English. But coming from a Sikh school, Punjabi was your primary language, Hindi was as a secondary language, so we had to. And we also had divinity class, which was basically religious class, so that was a separate to Punjabi class, which was more religious studies. So it was very varied in that sense, but quite narrowed and niche into the community. Yes, of course, it was that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So in essence, you became quite bilingual quite quickly.
Yes, I did. Yeah. So I picked up 3 languages straight away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know? I'm not joking. Seriously, I'm sure you're having this conversation most with young children of today.
Yeah.
There seems to be a regression of learning a mother tongue. A mother tongue, and just relying just on the singularity of English. Now, I think personally, through studies in psychology and structures with heart math in the MIT Institute, etc., they've actually realized that actually having a second language, or even in this case a third language, increases the versatility and creativity of the brain. So people tend to be able to be a little bit more interactive quicker. So I think it's a wonderful thing that the installation of a second or a third language. And where English is your primary language, and let's say you're indigenously from the UK, I would always advise children, if you're listening, to pick up one language just to throw into there as well at quite an early age if you can.
Yeah.
So going back to yourself, your journey, you're in India, you've been brought up there, so with great discipline from your grandparents. So a question to yourself, when did you actually get back and decide to come back to England, or in essence end up back here?
I was 12. I was 12 and I started my secondary school, so year 7. So that's when I came back. Yeah, that's when I moved back to the UK.
So year 7, 12 years old, that kind of thing. So
yeah.
If anybody else is older, like myself, that basically means first year senior school. Just thought I'd let you know. That's how we think as well. Because I still struggle to this day, and you're probably laughing with year 7. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
I see it as first year senior school.
Sounds more professional now when I hear that. It'll take me seriously.
So just a further conversation. So with this transfer, because a lot of individuals who in this day, young children specifically, and this show is orientated around the next generation. That's really what we're trying to achieve. And maybe people are having a little stickle now. That's why it's called the Empower Hour show. A conversation that I'm having inside my mind is that when you made the transition from Indian cultural disciplines, because the schooling is very different, isn't it? Yeah. And I know you had a scenario when you actually arrived back here, you were in a mathematics exam the same day.
On my first day, yeah.
On your first day.
Yeah.
And there was a distinct difference, because arithmetic and mathematics is done in the head in India at that time. How it is right now, I can't answer that question, but it was in those days, which you were talking about the 90s, is that right?
Yeah, early 2000. 90s,
90s, right?
Yeah, late 90s, yes.
Late 90s, yeah.
Yes.
So when you came here in England again, and in the UK, and you were in the middle of the maths exam, how was it different?
First was I only found out that I had an exam when I started my first day of school. That was a shocker.
A nice little gift, hey. Yeah.
So the first lesson I had was a maths exam, which was I don't know, it was programmed, or was it just was it a prank? I don't know what it was. But I sat in the front, and the first thing I noted was a calculator on my table. So I first thought, are they feeling sorry for me that they're giving me a calculator because I'm a new student and they just want to make life easy?
And I've come from India.
Maybe. And I come from India. So what I did was I asked the teacher, I said, Miss, why do I have a calculator? She said, turn around. And I looked back, everyone had, and it was a calculator exam. So I was like, okay, so this is they have a such thing as a calculator maths exam. I didn't use a calculator throughout the whole exam, because everything I knew it already in my head. So I would do all the calculations on paper. So I asked them, could I have an extra sheet of paper? That was my calculator. I need to do the hard maths on with the pencil. I need to do it, rub it, and then divide, subtract, brackets, all of those things at that time. I knew it by heart. It was something installed in my membrane, so that was there. So that was my first ever
culture shock, really.
It was a culture shock. It was indeed, because I wasn't informed, and it was just there, and I felt part of it, actually, I felt very proud that I'm very glad that
adapt.
I felt intelligent. I honestly, for the first day of school, I felt I'm verified, I'm intelligent, I have grey matter in me. I don't need the calculator. That's exactly how I felt, at least for the first day.
Well, God bless.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful charge of, let's say, confidence in there.
Yeah.
I can't believe how fast the time runs. Do you know we've been live for 20 minutes?
Wow.
Already? Yeah. So I'm going to get to a bit more of a point actually with this. This is a very, very valid point of inner confidence. So the inner confidence is there, and I also know that you're a bit of a hustler at school.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, but we're getting nitty gritty here, Saran.
Yeah.
You're going to have to tell us a bit more about this.
Oh, I used to have something up my sleeve. I was a very planner. So, but when I first moved, I used to travel back to India in my summer holidays, and I used to be a fan of stationery. Mm-hmm. So I used to go to my favorite stationery store and I just grab loads of stationery, and I would come back and I will have all sort of, rather than people having one pencil or one pen, I'll have loads. And with everything had a little feature. So at one point, some guy asked me, are you selling those? You have so many. Do you want to get rid of it? I said, okay. And I just said 50p. And he said, okay. And then that triggered me this entrepreneurial thing that, wait a second, I got something here. So the next time I went, I bought stock full. And I would actually say, so inside my blazer, I would lay them out. In my pockets, I'll have them ready. So
Show samples.
Show samples. If anyone wanted to buy it, here you go, 20p, 30p, whatever. And I used to sell them.
So you were like a door-to-door salesman. Like one of those sort of like, hey, look at this. You got one of these.
Yeah, if it was back in the day when you had all these amazing TV shows.
Yeah.
Like Keenan and Kel and Sister, I would be one of those characters.
Yeah,
I'd be definitely one of those hustler characters. Yeah, definitely, with a bit of a sense of humor. So yeah, so that's exactly what I was. I was always doing something. And if it wasn't stationery, as I grew older, I got into music. I was DJing. And I used to sell my own mixes. So I would create songs and I would sell them in school. So I used to do that as well.
Wow.
So always something to sell.
Creative,
yeah,
always bartering of some kind. Yes?
Yeah.
So something inside here tells me that there was you must have felt some friction from siblings, from school friends, because logically you're selling stuff to them.
Yeah.
And maybe you had a few bob, money wise, a few extra quid in your pocket compared to them, because obviously you're selling stuff to them, right?
Absolutely.
So did you ever find any kind of friction, or did you have any challenges at school?
Not in terms of the hustling side of things. It was just natural, and I think everyone just kind of took it as, okay, yeah,
that's okay.
Everyone had something to offer at school at some point.
Got it.
So it would be like those days was postcards, or those famous cards, or player cards.
Football players, yes, that's right. Yeah.
Or wrestling cards.
Yeah.
So you would sell to upgrade. Yeah, you would sell to upgrade. So things like that. There was always something. Everyone had an interest. Yeah,
trade and a barter.
Yeah. But for me, the challenges for me was on two occasions. One was, at that time when I first arrived here, I used to have long hair. I used to wear a turban. I used to wear a patka. So that was very different, because moving back from India, the social etiquette or the social program of kids my age then and in India, and then compare them to London, was very different.
Uh-huh.
Was a very different spectrum of behavior,
East London,
and behavior and approach to things, and that was very new for me, because certain thing, a lot of others, especially other Asians in the school, they would be numb to taking some sort of offenses. I wasn't.
So kind of like a verbal abuse or physical abuse.
Yeah, really. Verbal or physical abuse. Whereas for me, you came close to some level of verbal abuse or borderline racism or anything, I would just react and I would say, well, I find that very offensive, and I'd be vocal because I never faced it. So in school, so I was like, why would you offend me at the get-go when you don't know me? So that was definitely there. And secondly was when I had vitiligo, later stage, when I was about 16, 17. That also was a whole different environment.
So just before we go on to vitiligo being the skin
depigmentation of skin,
yes. So just before we go on into that section, so the question I ask yourself is that, when during the times of, let's say, verbal abuse, we'll say bullying, because bullying's quite a big thing. And by the way, if anybody listening is subject to any kind of bullying, please remember it is not okay to accept this. So always reach out, go to your school teacher and speak to them and have a conversation with them. So please, that's a strong message for everybody. So we're talking about bullying as a context. So in that situation, when you stood your ground, it added the inner confidence to yourself, as you just said yourself. How did that change with the vitiligo, which is with the depigmentation of the skin?
It changed. Obviously, the first thing that changed was my appearance. And being my skin palette, it was visible. whereas on white skin, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
That's right.
Whereas on brown skin or black skin, you'll be straight away be able to tell the difference. There's a difference in skin pattern. So that grew, and I first got it when I was 16, around the time of my sister got married. And that's when it was recognized by the elders in the family that this had happened. And then when I went into school the first day, they told me I would have to wear makeup. I completely wore it one day, completely ignored it the second day. But the most thing was, is it catchable if they touch me? Would they get this? Or certain remarks that I've got issues or I'm not well or this and that. There was a constant breakdown of my confidence. That's what it was. So
this is such a valid point, and I cannot believe, Saran, we've gone through our time schedule again. We're on to our last 30 seconds, so I'm not going to let this one go. So when we come back just after the break with Suren Kohli, who is actually a very, very substantiated designer for today in this current time, please remember we're going to come back and we'll pick this up with the vitiligo and how it happened there. But I hope everybody else is really, truly enjoying themselves because we're having a buzz. So the Empower Hour. See you very, very soon. See you shortly. Take care.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
Here at Children of Adam, we believe water wells and hand pumps are a significant step to empowering people to live their best life. A hand pump donation is an excellent form of sadaqah jariyah for loved ones, including those who have passed away. Saad ibn Ubadah reported, he said, "O Messenger of Allah, the mother of Saad has died, so what is the best charity I may give on her behalf?" The Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Water." Saad dug a well and said, "This is for the mother of Saad." A water pump is £150. Please donate by visiting childrenofadam.net or call us on 0300 321 0032.
Had a car accident or an accident at work? Accident specialists are experts in no-win, no-fee accident claims. Leave the hassle to us. Our multilingual settlement experts will manage the entire claims process on your behalf, with nothing to pay up front. We provide services such as credit hire, taxi vehicles, recovery, storage and much more. For full details on our range of services and a free consultation, call us on 01733 555 774 or visit our office at 249 Lincoln Road opposite the NatWest Bank. Accident Specialists. Start your successful claim today.
Feel like some great tasting chicken tonight? Great meal deals, wraps, burgers and sides. We've got it all at Chicken Palace. Call and collect at 302 Lincoln Road on 01733 702 447 or 8 Park Road on 01733 343750. Chicken Palace, open 11 a.m. till late.
दोस्ता की परेशान है
जरा कर है ना सारा सौदा मुक्या वा मुल्का विच पैसे भेजने
हूं नहीं अमार फूड वाले की फोन खड़का ते फ्री लोकल डिलीवरी कार मंगवा
आलाता उथे कै स्पेशल आ
उना की लबाई हाइजीन च ग्रेड 5 चीजें चंगियां मियारी ते सस्तियां ते नाले ऑफरां ही ऑफरां
और क्या
ताजा गोश्त ताजी सब्जियां ते फ्रूट आटा चावल दालां मसाले ते जूस सारे बिल जमा करने गैस ते इलेक्ट्रिक ने टॉप अप भी करने पाकिस्तान पैसे बिल्कुल फ्री भेजने मतलब के एक चिड़ी ने दूध छड़ी ते हर शय लबनी
उठ जने ने आप उतरा
Amar Food Store and Halal Meat 613B Lincoln Road Peterborough telephone 01733 687374.
Look inside your heart, search into your soul. He's holding your hand and catching your fall. Mashallah, I see the light. Mashallah, I see my mother smile. Allah, Allahu Salaam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community radio, broadcasting on 106.2 FM and online.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Empower Hours show here on Salaam Radio with myself, Sukhi Wahiwala. This evening's guest is Suren Kohli, who is an absolute storm when it comes to clothing, design wear, and dress wear for currently males, but is going to go into a new venue, which we're going to talk about shortly. Before the break, if you haven't tuned in, you're gonna learn so much about Suren and how all these little nuances have actually added, and how working within a very established, you could say, a design culture of the Kohli family, his mother being Mani Kohli and his sister also being in the same environment as well, but himself having to carve his own identity as well. So we're going to get straight back into it. So Saran, welcome back.
Hi, welcome.
Hey, we're back in, eh?
Yeah,
did
absolutely.
Did you think it was going to go that fast?
You know, it went much faster than I had my assumptions that this will be a very lounge tour, but it was very, very good. It was, it was.
It's relaxing, but there's a lot of stuff we've covered, right?
We have covered a lot. I think I've shared all my childhood memories already, so I feel very, very at ease now. I hope the young ones are picking up on all the good traits I have to share. So,
bless you. Do you know, Suren, it's true that, you know, through hardship, the rough diamonds, you know, through a bit of pressure over, you know, millions of years, the pressure that's from coal is what creates that diamond.
Yes.
And through a little bit of hardship is what, you know, we're trying to show through the Empower Hour how important it is to overcome any challenges. This is the key point, because we have a lot of conversations where I speak to a lot of young children as well, you know, sort of my children's age, you know, between 11 and 20, that sort of age. And they openly say that, you know, well, yeah, but they have an assumption that it was always easy. Because as a family, from the Wahiwala family, we're very established and we're very out there, but it was always easy, and it was just like, it must be a hand-me-down. It must have been something that somebody's done for you. The reality is that wasn't quite the case with yourself. I mean, you've been through lots of adversities, and we haven't even touched on your achievements yet, but I'm going to go back to vitiligo, if you don't mind. Vitiligo, just for anybody who's just tuned in, is a depigmentation of skin, and we were just touching on that. So if you don't mind, what sort of age were you when vitiligo actually started to show up?
I was 16, and it was a week before my sister's wedding.
Wow.
And I when I reached India, my sister got married during Christmas, New Year's. It was a Christmas, New Year wedding.
Wow,
and
a bit of a dream, right?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. 7-10 days of celebration. So never is enough, right? It's
Party.
Absolutely. And when I reached home, the elders in the family recognized this. I thought it was a pimple, but there was a particular color, because it goes very sort of white on brown, and you can see pink lining on the outskirts.
So hang on a second, sorry about that. So basically, before 16, you had no decoloration or depigmentation.
Yeah, the melanin was strong, yes.
Yeah. And so basically you're saying that literally you had like a little pimple by the side of your eye, and you didn't even notice. You thought it was just a spot or something.
That's it, yeah. I thought it was just any other thing that a kid would go through. It's only when the elders noticed, and they said, you know, in Punjabi they say Phileri,
that's right,
yeah,
which is vitiligo. Yes.
Yeah, so that's what it is. And they spoke to mum, and mum's like, okay, we'll look into it. And you know, we didn't pay any heed till I came back, because in the matter of about a month, it increased. It was on the covering a lot around my eye.
So around the edge, yes.
Around the edge, yeah. So we were trying to figure out what it is, what it's called, what it's termed. So we went to NHS here, a doctor, and they honestly don't have any information. They just basically give you a printout. This is what it is, and
this is vitiligo.
This is vitiligo. This is what it basically is termed on books. And
I assume just to put a caveat in there, that it's obviously progressed in a different way now. In the sense of that the educational level and how the GP can actually assist is obviously increased.
It definitely has. However, in this country, the lack of treatment is still, you know, evident. It's not taken as priority, and it needs to be. And I'm always vocal about it, because I've accepted what I have. It's part of my DNA. It's part of my identity. I find it really cool to have it now, because I feel like I'm part of a Marvel X-Men kind of scenario where this is my special power, and that's how I perceive it, and I think it changes your outlook completely onto anything.
Do you know, I was listening to you earlier on, Saran, when we were in a lovely pre-conversation, just a pre-chat, and And you were mentioning something about Marvel then in conversation and this gameplay. So your imagination is really, really something to be revered, because that's obviously a part of the imagination, creativity comes in, but actually creating stories for people, because your even nephews and nieces, you're actually, you talk to them in scenarios, right?
Yeah, I speak to them in their code. I kind of make a very cool version of what adults are like. So I always tell them, this is something I tell them, that guys, though we have relationship, I'm your mamu, you have your mom, and you have your dad, you have your nanny, and you have all of these people. But remember one thing, as far as the world actually looks like, and the world that I see it through this whole superhero stuff, it's a time machine. We are all humans from the future, and we're ahead of you. We've gone through everything that you're going through right now. We have we have similar answers, or we have the same answers to your questions. If you want to have a question, we'll have an answer for you, but your result's going to be different, because you're in a multiverse, you're in a different parallel universe to us, but in the same existing planet.
That's really kind of cool.
Yeah, I tell them. So basically what I'm trying to say is that don't shy of asking for help. Don't feel shy of reaching out to your parents about any advice that you need. We are from the future.
Of your life.
Yes. So I am 10 years older than what you look like. So yes, when you're at my age, your skin is not going to look immaculate. There will be a few bumps and dents here and there. Depends how you want to change the future, you change the present. So I really always kind of put them that they have this power to change.
That's so valid. If you want to change the future, then change the way you are in the present, right?
Yeah.
So that's so superb. So, for example, I'm just touching on the context of vitiligo, but that's not something that passes on like that. But you're talking about aging, wrinkles, that kind of stuff. So guess what? If you think as a child that you're going to be wrinkly when you're older, guess what? Do something about it now. Eat well. Exercise well. Keep your skin in good tone. Look after your skin.
There's far more choices to be made now than ever before, and there's far more choices to be confused by than ever before.
I get
so we're in a generation we can self-educate as well. We have the tools, we have the internet, but we also have very, very established peers. And that's our parents. We have people who you're going to be in their seat one day. So if you're trying to see it as that perspective, the older generation has a lot of answers for you. But your scenario and circumstances will be different. Yeah. But it's not to say it's not the same, or it's very similar.
It's a reference point, isn't it?
It's a very good reference point as a tool.
Encyclopedia.
It is
for your future. It's wonderful. So going back into the context of vitiligo, if you don't mind, because this is quite a serious concept here.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, it's not one of the things that you as children. I'm sure when you mentioned this, they would we weren't worried about touching you just in case they caught something, that kind of thing. So what effect did this have on you? And I'm going to touch on this for a few minutes.
In terms of being in school for the first few months was very different, because people saw a change and they thought something's wrong with me. But wrong in the sense is that
maybe a temporal illness.
They thought it was a permanent illness, because they just thought, okay, but kids being kids, we don't, being a kid, you don't think twice about saying, you just say sometimes, you just say what you feel.
Not necessarily aware of the feelings of
the repercussions of what you say. So I used to get a lot of remarks, and I used to be looked very differently. I was stared at. One thing used to happen was I'd be looked at.
I understand.
It definitely altered my confidence, because what it allowed me to do was I used to start looking down all the time. So there's a moment where I'll always look down, and I won't have the confidence to speak to someone eye to eye. I won't have that glow in me anymore. I would hide my glow, and I would divert my glow. I will only speak to friends who know me. But anyone knew, friends who've been friends since day one. So that really altered my confidence, and I always keep my eye contact really low, or I'll have my mouth covered, or I'll have this defensive body language, or this closed body language, which kind of projected this shy, unexplainable, kid.
Timidness.
So that's what it was. It kind of opened up a weak spot and a vulnerability. I was projecting it.
Yeah, within itself, obviously, these vulnerabilities carve our strengths in future.
Yeah.
So a little touch conversation there. So I also know that you're a tremendous dancer.
Yes.
In fact, a professional dancer, and trained and educated, from abroad as well, from Americas. So did you find sanctuary in maybe the expression? Because you're saying you closed yourself off, but when you were dancing, you felt open again.
Yeah, I would say dancing is my first love. That's the first thing I would say was kind of gifted to me naturally. I kind of take that in pride, is because that's the only thing everyone remembers me as a child.
Dancing. Really?
Always dancing in the room. Dancing. Music's on, dancing. And I taught myself how to moonwalk when I was 5 years old, 6 years old.
Wow.
So I grew up listening to James Brown, Motown, Prabhu Deva, Michael Jackson. So and especially growing up in Delhi in those days, where I was from for a period when the TV, you would have this red stick and you would tune 5 channels only that would be on the and one of them was MTV.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because of MTV, I was exposed to music. My sister used to listen to, from Jason Donovan to New Kids of the Block to those days pop bands.
The late 80s.
Yeah, late 80s to early 90s. Everything changed. I was so engrossed to hip hop and exposed to hip hop, from the b-boy, from the very breakbeat days, and just kind of get absorbed. So that's what it was. Naturally, it was the first thing that happened to me creatively was that I had rhythm. My body had rhythm, and I can do something about it. It's not till I was in my teenage years when I started auditioning and things kind of just went on and on and on till I had a dance company when I was 16, 17.
So 16, 17 years old, there's a dance company. So you've gone from this timid child, which is kind of like when you're right between your 12, 15, 16 years old, and you became a little bit closed. So you're an individual who stood up against ill feelings and ill thoughts and ill vocabulary, and then you went to a closed state, and then all of a sudden finding music assisted you, and that released you open again. So you've now back into the marketplace of expression.
Yes.
So here's a funny conversation now I'm going to point here. That obviously you said you created a dance company.
Yes.
How old were you?
I was 17.
17 years old from my conversation was you were in a business class.
Yes.
In school.
Yes.
And you were this close to being expelled, right?
Yes.
So I'm afraid we're going to have to ask you about this.
What happened?
What happened?
So business class, the teacher goes out for a few minutes and I get a phone call. And I'm talking about days when we had these early Nokias with the 1 month battery. Miss those devices. And get a phone call. No one's there. I take it, and there's an inquiry for booking my crew for a performance. And they're having all these Q&As and everything. And I'm being very professional because no one in the classroom knows I have this alter ego, this life outside the school,
a separate business.
Business. So suddenly they're just how he speaks.
What's he talking about?
He speaks so well. I'm like, thank you for your inquiry. If you just email me on so and so, I will be able to provide you all the information, the costing, and provide your dates. I'm speaking completely different lingo that no one is understanding. Business talk. Put the phone down, and I'm like, thank God, no one's seeing me. Turn around, my teacher was standing right behind me, and everyone was listening to my conversation. It was like a case study going on, and I was pulled out of class, taken to the head teacher, and basically my business teacher was saying I should be expelled, I should be thrown out, I should be turned out of the course.
Because in essence you were soliciting on premises, right?
I was soliciting on premises.
Yeah. Soliciting basically, just in case you fair that younger children can't work it out, it means you're selling something on premises.
Yeah, but there was no exchange of money, so I guess that I was safe play on that one. But my head teacher then asked me, give me one reason why we shouldn't be expelled. I don't know, for some reason I was switched on at that moment, where my answer was, I've been taught business in a business class, and I'm putting business into action in the business class. So I'm actually doing what I've been taught straight away. So I'm just moving on. Maybe that's my trait. I like to do business, and that's exactly what I did. The head teacher surprisingly loved what I said, and I wasn't expelled.
Oh my goodness! This is not a message for you children to start to challenge your head teachers. Please do remember that on. Yeah, but this is basically just your life actually really happened, right?
Yeah, I think what to take from there is, and I would say this to any young individual, be it from school or be it from coming out of university, is that the only way things come to life if you plant a seed. And if you know where the soil is,
and water it,
it's very simple human nature or natural phenomena way of looking at it. But if you really love something, you need to pursue some amount to it or have some strength to absorb progress it. Then only you know the potential. For example, I've gone through many facets. I wanted to be a professional cricketer, a dancer, I had a DJ. But the thing is, I never half-heartedly did anything. I tried to reach potentials for all things. I played for Essex County for county level of cricket. Wow. It's because I pushed myself to that level. Dancing brought me to various different accolades. Doing things in school like business and stuff only allowed me to go further into studying fashion business management at London College of Fashion. Mm-hmm. It's an interest that if you have a young age, being a teenager is a wonderful time.
It is, yes.
It is full of curiosity, full of taking in information. You see the world as a very imaginative, full of possibilities, but also adventures. So you should really, if you love something, don't hide it. Protect it. If you don't want to share it, then protect it. But learn and evolve and expel into as much as possible, because that's the only way you'll know what you're good at or what you feel you're good at.
Beautiful message there. Amazing. And by the way, I've also noticed that we're talking about teenage years.
Yeah.
But I'll share with you, because a lot of our local listeners and international listeners, that this doesn't necessarily mean any particular age group, because the moment you get engaged in life and you find yourself, you can be and do anything you want at any age. You know, I've met people in their 50s and the 60s and even in their 40s who have had a complete career change, you know, come from being a home mother, which in my opinion is the hardest job of all. It's a full-time job. You don't get any time off, that kind of thing. Yeah. And just become a career. My own wife has been somebody who's now studying in Cambridge, doing her master's, etc., in sociology. So in context of this, so just to take it one stage further, if I may, again, just the time just disappears so much. I've got thousands of things I want to talk to you about, Saran. This basically leads to your music dance career. So I'm missing out the DJ career here, and I know you were an avid DJ.
It was a short-lived period.
Short-lived period. So we'll leave it short because of that reason. But dancing-wise, you know, I also understand that you're a professional dancer. You really have academically studied it.
Yes.
And to addition to that, you had a vision when you were a child to be on a particular poster, and then your name was actually on that poster at a certain age, yeah? And that's why as soon as 2015, it was the Breaking Convention. Now, if anybody else knows is in the dance industry, it's kind of royalty in that environment.
It's the biggest hip-hop convention in Europe that basically takes over Sadler's Wells, the famous Sadler's Wells in London.
Amazing.
And over 4 days, it's a convention of learning all aspects of hip-hop. And in the evening, they have Saturday evening and Sunday evening, they have commission shows of about 6 to 8 choreographers who showcase their work on that stage. And I was commissioned.
6 to 8 choreographers who show their... And you were one of them, right?
I was one of them. I was commissioned to showcase my work on Sadler's Wells in front of 2,000 people.
And this is 2015, so this is mid of your designer career.
Mid of designer career, because I took a sabbatical. It's quite a very, very humbling experience, because it shows what you just introduced, this whole idea of that age is not a limit. Nothing is a limit. There's no limit. It's all about exceeding your own expectations and belief. Engaging with your own self-energy. 2013, I took a sabbatical. I'm 25. I took a sabbatical, and I went and I said, I want to get dance on my bucket list. I want to go to a dance school. I want to study. I want to know everything about it. Went to New York for 8 months, trained, came back, and I got signed by agencies.
8 months?
8 months, yeah.
And in New York?
In New York, yes.
So you're in the heart of it, basically.
Yes.
Talk about taking things to the extreme. And this is a great message for people. You know, just knuckle in and completely do it.
Yeah.
Don't multitask. You know, you decided music and dance. So bang, you're straight in the center of it. 8 months in New York.
Yeah.
So what happened? You know, you came back to the UK. You're 25 years old. You've got a booking.
Yeah. I turned by the time I was 26, and then I got signed up with agencies. I did Edinburgh Fringe Festival. I toured the UK, the Europe, and then Edinburgh Fringe. Yeah, a whole month of Edinburgh Fringe. Such an beautiful experience.
Not only have you heightened my expectation of your design work, because creativity is that flow. It's amazing the accolades you've just accumulated in a few minutes of conversation around the dance. I mean, as a personal thing, I'm very, very humbled that you're having me in the studio. Thank you very much for this. Yeah.
No, thank you. I always ask myself, dance is something that was God given, because I felt like as if I knew it before I entered the world. So I had to do something about it. So that was it, and it was a show that I've been going for 5 years straight. And I thought, one day, what would it be like to be in this show and have my name in the posters? The next thing you know, my name's on the posters, Angels and Underground. I'm talking about massive posters of Breaking Convention with my name saying, also performing Suren Kohli. I was like, oh my God, this is so surreal, but so humbling. Just
touching again, so that means you're in the underground, and you maybe 5 years earlier visualized that, you know what, I want to go back into music and dance in specific. And, the Breaking Convention, that'll be a really cool place to be. And the next thing you know is that X many years later, your name is one of the featured artists.
Yes.
That must have been so ridiculously amazing.
It was a lot of pride and honor involved into it. Like, I had to do it right. And I feel like I did it right, because I did something, I performed and choreographed something very close to my heart. And I put everything, my culture into it, the music, the influences, and the representation as well. It was so important, because it's in an industry where there's not much representation of Asian dancers in the hip hop scene. So I didn't feel pressured. I just felt it'd be just to do it right and represent yourself so right that if any other person from my community watched and say, you know what, I can do it.
I can do that as well.
I can do it.
And that looks superb.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So what an inspirational conversation. Now, again, we're down to our last 6 minutes, Saran. So I need to get onto your current status. What are you up to? You know, you've been an amazing sort of like vocally talking about your design work, and you're currently, for me, I've known you as a designer, in specific in menswear and couture wear. So tell me a little about Suren Kohli. You know, what are you up to today?
So today I'm doing a lot of projects. Some of them are going to be released next year, but one thing I'm working on right now is my online store. So I started doing my menswear design just after university in 2009. I worked in the music industry, designed for a lot of artists.
So for 10 years
and yeah, so that's what started. And then 2016, I formally launched my label as a full-on brand experience.
So you were doing art, you were doing clothes wear, design wear, clothes wear for the British Bhangra artists,
British Bhangra artists and urban artists,
and urban as well.
Yes.
Wow,
yeah.
And so your name actually was synonymously known at that particular period of time. At that time, and then you thought you'd establish it as Suren Kohli.
Yes, I think one of the main things is that coming from a fashion background in terms of family, I chose to study fashion and I chose to find my own space. And I always say this, so where do you actually fit in? Or I say, I actually don't try to fit in.
No.
I'm in a very grey area. I'm because I'm influenced of British and I have that Asian, Indian influence, Punjabi. So I don't really say I have a lot of heritage. I really boil it down
nice way to put it.
I have a lot of heritage in me, and that's where I'm always going to be in a grey area.
Yeah.
I'm in an area where you can stand out and you don't have to blend in. So that's what the primary reason for starting my menswear brand formally since 2016, and then been blessed to work with so many different amazing people.
So you know I'm going to be cheeky, don't you?
Yeah.
Who have you dressed? And get very nitty and gritty with Bollywood, man. Come on.
Okay, so I did design a jacket for Shahrukh Khan.
So SRK, Shahrukh Khan himself.
Yes,
wow.
Yeah. It was commissioned for a gift, and I had that done for him and his son, youngest son, Ibrahim, and Sachin Tendulkar.
The Tendulkar, oh my goodness, this is getting into serious royalty.
Yeah, Sachin Tendulkar and JLS, the pop band, and Jay Sean.
Homegrown Peterborough a lot, you know?
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
I think if I'm correct, the lead singer was actually from Peterborough.
Oh, wow. So I feel I'm in the right place at the right time.
Ta-da!
To say, yeah. So a lot of pop bands.
So JLS?
Yeah, JLS, Jay Sean. And
look, I know that you've also done films, right?
Yes.
So we're not just talking about Bollywood films; we're talking about all sorts of films. So name some of your films. I know you're not supposed to talk about this, but I don't care. You're gonna have to. I'm afraid. You're on my show.
I did this amazing British independent film called Amar Akbar and Tony.
Amar Akbar and Tony,
which is a British independent film.
That's a bit of a spoof, or not a spoof. Sorry, it's a bit of a play on Amar Akbar and Anthony, which used to be a 1970s. Amitabh Bachchan, Vinod Khanna, and Rishi Kapoor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So that actually is quite well known. That was done pretty well.
It's on Netflix. You can definitely watch that. And I was a costume designer on that one.
So how involved were you?
Scenes. I was very much involved because there were some scenes that needed to be very particular, well executed. And so that was a very good experience because the staff and the crew and everyone was just amazing. There are some amazing, talented people in that show, in that film, and it's just so amazing to have some really good talent that have made such beautiful careers of themselves. To learn so much off them, that what you could do for yourself. So it's wonderful to be around another creative geniuses in that whole project. So yeah.
So I think this is a point of celebration really, because you're a homegrown Brit. And you've been out there and you've done Bollywood and Hollywood as well. And you've also, dressed people like SIK. It's Shahrukh Khan himself, which is Bollywood royalty when it comes to actors. So a question to yourself. I mean, I've got this preconception in my brain, and I have to apologize if it's incorrect. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about Suren Kohli, and I'm thinking about couture work, which is like piecework, one piece, individual items. I'm thinking £5,000 per dress code, that kind of thing. That's what's going through my brain. I'm thinking, if I come to Suren, kind of like I better have deep pockets, right?
No, completely wrong. And the contrary, I'm much less than that. I'm much more accessible, approachable. So I would say roughly about between £700 to £900.
Are you serious?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hang on. Stop a minute. We haven't planned this one, so give me a second. So hang on. You're talking about you can get me a couture piece, male couture piece, and you can actually dress me, and I can have access to you personally.
Yes.
For under £1,000.
Yes.
Unbelievable. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking from a person who, not out of arrogance and that sort of thing, from a very humble way, that I'm quite able to purchase the clothes I need to wear. Not that I've got the physique anymore, but you're very simple.
You have the glow.
Oh, thank you.
That's right.
Polish, if you're looking there, polishing it. Now, we're down to the last minute, but, I would expect to be spending that sort of money with somebody like Hugo Boss and that, not from a couture individual.
Yeah, no, it's meant to be accessible. I'm meant to be approachable. And that was my conscious decision that it's not about spending loads of money. It's about spending the money the right way and looking good in many ways.
Your couture, your design work, and we've got 30 seconds, literally. The way I see this is that it's actually, it's a breath of fresh air. It allows a male to be as expressive without being OTT, masculine or feminine. I mean, they could be very, very vibrant. And so how can somebody get a hold of you, Saran?
So you can get hold of me on Instagram at Saran Kohli Label. On my website, sarankohli.com, or email me, saran@sarankohli.com. I love emails, and just DM me on Instagram, as today's peeps say.
That's really cool. For the other elders, DM means direct message. So this evening we've been getting very close with Suren Kohli, and this is the Empower Hour. See you next week on Tuesday. Thank you very much for listening.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.